Hi, welcome to How Librarians Can Support Your Teaching. My name is Jenny Bruxfort, and I am one of the Research and Instruction Librarians here at George Fox. Today, I'm going to talk to you about what successful collaboration between teaching faculty and faculty librarians has looked like and might look like for you. We will go over a variety of ways librarians can support your teaching, from course-specific research guides to in-class teaching. Now let's get started. The first important thing to know, that you might know already, is that you, George Fox faculty member, have a librarian. We have 4 research and instruction librarians, and each works with faculty and students in different areas, much like CAP coaches in the Idea Center. We specialize so that we can be more familiar with searching for resources in these areas and the types of classes you usually teach. We are not subject matter experts necessarily, but we do try to keep up to date with how to support them. Right now, Andrea works primarily with biochemistry, kinesiology, nursing, physical therapy, physician's assistant, clinical psychology, and grad social work. I work with art and design, cinematic arts, communication, the Cornerstone Core, engineering, English, history, the honors program, music, politics, sociology, Spanish, and theater. Robin works with the adult degree programs, counseling, and grad education, and Kate works with business, undergrad education, math, undergrad psychology, seminary, bachelor's in social work, and theology. Your librarian is here to help you and your students in any library-related way that they can. Librarians at colleges and universities have graduate school training in how to help students become better researchers. We are taught how to teach college students the process of searching for information and ethically using the information they find. We learn to teach both the practical how-tos as well as the theoretical underpinnings of what information is and how to share it well. These skills and theory together make up what librarians call information literacy. You can see a more formal definition of information literacy on the screen, as well as the 6 overlapping frames in the Association of College and Research Libraries Framework for Information Literacy. So, now that you know that you have a librarian that supports the discipline you teach in and who has expertise in teaching searching and research skills to students, let's talk about some specific ways that you could partner with a librarian in some of your classes. The first kind of partnership that we're going to talk about today is one that happens entirely or almost entirely outside of class time. This can be a good option for faculty members who realize their class might benefit from certain kinds of library instruction, but don't have space in their class schedule for a librarian to come to class and teach. Outside of class partnerships can involve a librarian creating an online research guide or tutorial video for your students. We'll talk about both of those a bit more in a second. But for now, I want to talk to you about assignment review and research help appointments. By assignment review, I don't mean that librarians will grade the papers for your class. Wouldn't that be nice? But I do mean we would love to look over a research assignment you're designing and talk it through with you. We can tell you if the library has any specific resources that would be helpful for students doing this assignment, or point out any difficulties we have noticed students having doing similar research assignments in the past. Sometimes one-on-one or a small group is going to be more helpful for a class of students, especially if they're each doing very different research. In that case, I would suggest a research help appointment. With this option, you would strongly recommend, require, or incentivize students with extra credit to come make a research help appointment with their librarian. We offer 20, 40, and 60-minute appointments both online and in person during business hours on weekdays. In these appointments, we work through a student's research question with them and help them learn how to search for the information they need. Okay, now moving on to research guides, which are also sometimes called library guides or LibGuides. Research guides are librarian-created online guides to research. They can be created for a topic, a class, or an entire discipline, and often contain a mix of links to resources as well as instruction about how to search and how to use library tools. Librarians sometimes make these guides on their own, but most often these guides are made in collaboration with or at the suggestion of a teaching faculty member. Let's look through a couple together to see what makes them so helpful. This is the BIST 501 guide created by Kate for the Portland Seminary. BIST 501 is an introduction to the Old Testament class, so this guide has information about specific resources like biblical commentaries, as well as guidance about how to do exegetical research, and it also highlights specific resources on Deuteronomy and Isaiah, which are the focuses of this assignment. It also contains Kate's pictures and contact information so students know how to get more help if they need it. This is the Management 350 guide created by Kate for the Business Department. Management 350 is a class about human resource management. It has proactive help for common issues like evaluating if a source you found is appropriate for your assignment, while also being fairly minimal and only containing tabs for the specific tasks required for the research assignments in this class. In this case, finding, citing, and creating links to research articles. As you can see, research guides for specific classes are also available directly in the class's Canvas, on the left-hand side in the navigation in the section marked Library Resources. This makes it really easy for students to bounce back and forth between the research assignment instructions and the help they may need to complete the assignment. This is the second page of my guide for the History of U.S. Cinema class. Since students are exploring film genres in this class, it links to films in specific genres, books about that genre that we have in the George Fox Library, and it also has one link specifically to a book that's a good introduction to film genre as a whole. On the next tab in the guide, there's also a tutorial video I made about how to find film reviews for films that came out before the internet, since this is something students are probably not familiar with doing. Andrea's evidence-based nursing research guide demonstrates a couple of other helpful aspects of research guides. It has links to the library ebooks that are being used as textbooks in this class. It also has embedded search bars so students can search for their topic in library databases without even leaving Canvas, and also has a tab that specifically explains why you might search in one library nursing database versus another, depending on what type of evidence-based nursing information you need. The last research guide we're going to look at today is one about Augustine and the Confessions that was used a couple of years ago to supplement what was being taught in Libo 100. It contains an interactive timeline of Augustine's life, images, and other art inspired by his writings, and more. This guide was created more to inspire curiosity than to provide how-tos, and we love to make these kinds of guides as well. They can help students who just want to dive deeper into what they're learning in class, but don't know a good way to do that. As you can see, we have a lot of different guides. If you want to explore any of them in more depth, you can find all our guides on the library website, library.georgefox.edu, in the blue tab marked Research Guides. If you think a guide like this would be helpful for your class, please reach out to your librarian. We would love to make one for you and your students. We touched on tutorial videos a little bit when we were talking about research guides, but now I want to talk about them specifically. Librarians are happy to make one for you or point you to a tutorial video we already have on any library research skill, from practical things like how to find and use our ebooks to more theoretical things like how scholarship in a field is really an ongoing conversation between experts in a field who care about the same thing. You can find most of our tutorial videos on our YouTube channel, George Fox University Libraries. We've now talked through several ways that a librarian can support your class without ever coming to class. But now let's talk about what it can look like when a librarian does come to teach for a day. Firstly, we want you to know that there's no general library talk. Orientations are good, but students learn the skills a lot better in the context of their majors, programs, and especially specific assignments. What we do depends on what you assign and what your students have learned before and the discipline that they're in. An article review in psychology might look very different than teaching in annotated bibliography in theology or a research paper in history. We love in-person instruction for a couple of reasons. It helps students to get to know us and feel comfortable asking for help later if they need it. We can also do more active learning activities that help this kind of content come to life. We can tailor the class to the specific topics of these students, answer any questions that come up, and leave time for searching when a librarian is there to help. You can see on the screen a couple of different types of assignments that we support typically. We teach a lot of how to use particular library databases and tools. We can talk about troubleshooting common library errors, citation management, finding prominent journals in your field, why to use different types of library resources, how to know if a source is good evidence, and a lot of other specialized skills like finding data, primary sources, using commentaries, and things like that. With any library teaching collaboration, we want to talk to you about what you want your students to learn and the context for how they'll use it so we can customize and optimize our time together. This is especially true for more expansive collaborations. The first kind of expansive collaboration I want to talk about is when library instruction is folded into an entire class at various points of need. Instead of trying to cram every potentially library-related piece of content into one day, in this kind of collaboration, a librarian will come to visit your class multiple times throughout the semester for shorter periods of time to teach what is needed at the moment so that students will hopefully remember it, see why it's relevant, and actually get a chance to practice. On a bigger scale, this is also what we would like to see throughout a student's entire program or major, that they work on different skills at different times, building to hopefully cumulatively have all of what they need by the time they are finished. When we have multiple classes that build on each other, it means that we can spend less time in upper level classes making sure that students know the basics and can dive deep into the things that really matter. That means we can do more fun projects, and we can make sure that students are a little bit less bored than they will be otherwise. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions about anything you heard in the workshop, please feel free to email me at jbruxfort@georgefox.edu or reach out to your librarian if you're interested in collaborating. We look forward to continuing to partner with you.